Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss about Aadhaar, world's largest biometric identification system. In this presentation, we will be covering following points: the context of innovation, innovation concept, business and social value of the innovation concept, technologies that used in the innovation, innovation development, innovation result, planned incremental improvements, and conclusions. So, what was the need of the unique biometric system for India? Well, India is a country of 1.2 billion residents and 640,000 villages. That means most of the population is residing in rural areas where the reach of government and its schemes is not that good. Among this population, nearly 60% are living under $2 per day income, which is really too less to think of. Also, India is having a literacy rate of 75%, which is really good, but only 3% of the population is paying income taxes, and over less than 20% of population is having access to banking system. But in the same society, most of the people are equipped with cell phones thanks to the telecommunication industry. And from this we can say that people are well used to of this technology, but no one made use of this particular characteristics of Indian society, especially government of India. Also, India is having a very huge number of interstate migrants who keep on roaming or traveling from one state to another state in search of employment. For these people, for these migrants to establish their identity into a newer state is a huge challenge. So, in order to tackle all these issues, government of India annually spends nearly 25 to 40 billion dollars on direct subsidy schemes like LPG connections, Mahatma Gandhi Rural Employment Systems Scheme, Janani Suraksha Yojana, and pension schemes for elderly, and there are so many else others. But to avail the benefits of these schemes, the residents of India need to establish their identity, and they didn't have a particular kind of a well established identity system to help them because the system was corrupt with ghost identities and multiple identities. Because of this, there was a massive leakage of government resources of 30 to 40% annually. The vision with which India launched its Aadhaar project was it wanted to create a common national identity for each and every resident of India so that the benefits of the subsidized schemes can reach where it was aimed at, especially the poor section of society. This is the class of the society which most of the time does not have essential documents to prove their identity, and as they cannot avail the benefits of government programs, it is not possible for the government of India to have an inclusive growth in all sections of society. So, government of India wanted to empower each and every citizen of society with a unique identification tool which will be easily available to them, and along with that it will empower them with a unique identity. Thus, the idea of multimodal biometric unit identification system came into existence. The Aadhaar project was formally launched in 2011 under the chairmanship of Mr. Nandan Nilekani, the former CEO of Infosys Technologies. This was the man who was the driving force behind the biometric-based unit identification system of India. This was the exact time when biometric authentication system was on the slope of enlightenment on 2010 Gartner hype cycle. So what is Aadhaar? Aadhaar is a unique 12-digit number issued by UIDAI to a resident of India. This number is randomly generated and does not have any intelligence to it. Aadhaar uses multimodal biometric system as it has better rate of producing successful deduplication against the huge amount of data. Aadhaar enrollment is done once in a lifetime of a person's life. Neither two different persons can have similar Aadhaar numbers, or one person cannot have two Aadhaar numbers. Aadhaar enrollment procedure needs only minimal data set which can be categorized as demographic. Under this comes name, address, date of birth and gender of the person. The next category is biometric, which is the foundation of Aadhaar. It requires two iris images, 10 fingerprint images, and third one is facial recognition pattern. Aadhaar system can be broadly categorized into two main systems, the enrollment system and the authentication system. In enrollment system, the person who wants an Aadhaar number goes to the enrollment station. Here the person's fingerprints, iris images and facial images are captured by three respective biometric sensing systems. These images are then run against the three respective algorithms in order to find out the extraction, and thus then they are fused together and data packets are encrypted afterwards. All of this is done at the front end of the system only, as this has proven to yield better results. These encrypted data packets are sent over the network to CIDR. The enrollment backend operation is carried out at the CIDR, where the packet is checked and validated for correctness and then deduplicated against the existing enrollment database. Only when the new enrollment record is found, unique Aadhaar number granted to that particular resident. Aadhaar authentication is a process to check the claim who you are who you claim to be. In this process, Aadhaar number along with in India, most of population resides in rural areas where there is a lack of banking networks. In such scenarios, if a daily wage worker who works in a farm cannot afford to save his savings in the bank, which can be several miles away from his place. If he wants to go to bank, it can take nearly a day, considering a very low frequency of bus to and fro from the city. Thus, going to bank just to deposit his savings or withdrawing the amount needed by him can cause the loss of whole day's income, which will be too much to afford for a person from rural background. To tackle such issues, UIDAI came up with a novel idea of micropayment. In this system, UIDAI system works as an interoperable switch, providing necessary authentication to banks and thus helping banks to disburse the payment to the networks of business correspondences. In remote areas, grocery shops can play the role of business correspondents. They are registered with UIDI to carry out the given operations and given back the commission transactions. Here, banks also become beneficiary as the bank does not have to go through the customer acquisition cost and and the transaction cost. This facilitates the direct transfer of benefits to the residents of directly without incumbent leakages of manual disbursement system. So let us take the example of Ram, who is a daily wage worker in the farm. So suppose Ram wants to withdraw some money from his bank account. So he goes to the business correspondents available in this village. In this case, it will be a grocery store. The BC will be taking the biometric information with the help of handheld device. Now BC will send the biometric, demographic and Aadhaar number over to the BC's bank account. The BC's bank will send the request for authentication through an interoperable switch to the UIDAI. 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 authentication system. UIDAI will test the data and after validation, it will send confirmation to RAM's bank account. Upon validification, RAM's bank will credit BC's bank account with the requested amount of money. Once credited, the SMS or call will be sent to RAM to confirm the crediting of BC's account. Now BC will hand over the requested amount to RAM. Thus RAM is able to save his time and a day's labor income. In this case, all the components of micropayments are beneficiaries. Now let's talk about the innovation potential. Aadhaar is an open platform providing open APIs to make best use of it by the various service providers. It has been connected to MNREGA, PDS, scholarship schemes for the rural kids, and micropayment systems. As it is an open API platform, many service providers can make use of it according to their requirements, coming up with compatible softwares and can leverage the use of it. The best example can be the banking system. Many banking systems have opted for Aadhaar-based identification, thus reducing the cost of doing manual identification on site. Next, the voter card and the Aadhaar are going to be linked together in order to stamp out the voter frauds. Electronic medical record system can be created using Aadhaar and thus ensuring the necessary medical assistance is provided to the much needed groups. It can be linked to education system in order to carry out the exams all over the India. It can also be used in tracking down the employment rate across the country by creating a simultaneous data based on the UIADI.